Alright guys, it's Justin again with another work in progress for the high grade Ez8 build for my entry into the Team Nexus group build. With this section I'm going to kind of go over masking, and that way you guys can see it's really easy. It's more tedious than anything else, but it's really easy to do. So what I've done here is I've taken all my painted pieces and I've kind of separated them how I want to paint them. The pieces over here are going to be painted a dark gray. The pieces over here are going to be masked and painted blue. Easy as that. So you're going to need a couple of small tools for this. Nothing too crazy. Let me find my tape dispenser. It was here not long ago. Well, my masking tape seems to have disappeared on me. The kind that I like to use anyway. The size, I should say. So, I'm just going to go ahead and use this. It's fine. So what I like to do, I get all the other masking tape off my desk. Stick that over there. And I just kind of stretch some across my cutting mat, and I cut it as I need it. So. Alright, that should be good enough. Okay. So, for this next part, I get my tweezers and stuff out, and basically I'm going to mask this bottom section off and make it so I can paint this bottom part dark gray and leave the top part the color it is now. So, for that I'm just going to cut a couple of strips out. Cut 4 out for now, and I'm actually going to go ahead and cut those in half. That way I don't use as much tape because it's a smaller area. But basically all you do is you kind of line up the flat edge with like that. And the important part is to make sure that you cover the entire edge. That's the most important part, is the edge, because the rest you can do very easily later on. But there we go. 3 little pieces of tape, and we've already masked off the thing that we need to. So what I like to do next is just get it flush. So I just put another piece over here, and now there's a nice line that kind of runs along that. So I'm going to use another piece right here, just so the edge is covered. And then I take this stuff. This is just generic, not generic, it's 3M masking tape. Cut a piece, or tear a piece off. I put it on like my pants or my shirt or whatever, and I just tear it off so it loses some of its tack, I guess. And I stick that on there like that. I've got a little bit of a thing where it doesn't line up. I'm just going to take and put that right there, and we're good to go. So that piece is done. Now all I got to do is put this on clip. I like to clip it at the tape so it doesn't move. And there you go. So that's ready for paint. Super easy. We'll go ahead and do one more. And go ahead and do the leg. It's very much the exact same. A lot of people make masking out to be harder than it actually is. It's like I said, more tedious than anything else. Some people absolutely hate doing it. Derek. But sometimes it's a necessary evil. And it's okay to overlap. Just make sure you press down you know, everything that overlaps so that there's no like bubbles, I guess, so that you can make sure that there's not going to be any paint getting underneath the tape, because that's how you get bleeding and stuff like that. Alright, there we go. So that's pretty much done. I'm going to go ahead and get that little piece right there. That last one right there. And we're pretty much good to go, so we're just going to go ahead and mask off the other side, and then, you know, we'll be ready to paint it. So I'm going to go ahead and mask the rest of these pieces off, and then we'll come back so I don't bore you to death with that. But yeah, I'll see you in a second. Another good way you can mask pieces off is by using, you know, blue tack or poster tack. What I like to do is just kind of knead it a little bit and get it you know, nice and stretched out. I'll take a toothpick, tear a little bit off, and just kind of wrap it around whatever I'm working on. I don't prefer this method, honestly, but sometimes masking tape is harder to work with because of the surface you're working on, or like the shape of the area. And that's when this stuff comes in really handy, when there's a lot of curves and stuff like that, because this is easier to kind of conform and contour to the shape that you're trying to get it to than masking tape, where you have to be more precise as far as like measuring and stuff. But you just kind of wrap it around, and then you use the toothpick to kind of nudge it into where it's supposed to go. There we go. I'm going to stretch this piece out a little bit. And there we go. So it's basically as simple as that. You just want to make sure you cover everything so you don't, you know, go through the blue tack and spray on what you want masked off. But it's super easy, very straightforward. I guess that'll be good for that. Another good thing about using blue tack to mask is it's reusable. So if you paint all these pieces and you know you still have or well, when you're done, you can go ahead and just take the blue tack and you can knead the old paint out of it, and it's just like new. You don't have to worry about you know, rebuying blue tack unless you lose it or, you know, somehow destroy it, I guess. But I've never done that, so that's not to say you can't do it. I have never done it. But yeah, so I mean, this stuff's really nice. The obvious drawbacks are it's kind of thick. It's a little weird to work with at first, but the more you use it, the easier that kind of becomes. So just, you know, mess around with it. It's not a bad alternative to masking tape if used correctly. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep messing with this and then finish this piece up. And I guess we'll come back and look at panel lining. So I'll see you in a minute. Okay, So for the last part of this video, we're going to go over panel lining. I think I've done this in a separate video before, but it never hurts to go over it again. So what I've got here are some pieces that I've finished painting and stuff like that. One of these, this one, has been panel lined, the other has not. Zoom in, see if you can see it. It's a little difficult to make out, but you know, all panel lining does is take this recessed detail and you put paint in it, you wipe away the excess, and it makes it pop out and look better, basically. You can see it a little better on the front skirts here. The best example is probably the shield, because it's the lightest. But it's really easy to do. All you need, I use this. It's just pre-thinned. It's all done up for you, but you can do it yourself. I used to use testers. You just take a little bit of this, just like maybe 2 drops. You mix it with a lot of thinner, and then you mix in one of these dishes, a clean one preferably, and you get it nice and runny, and then you just use a paintbrush to dab it into panel lines, and it does the job. But like I said, this stuff is pre-thinned, so all you got to do is you shake it up a little bit, open it up, get some of the excess off, and just dab it on your panel lines, and it will flow through all the channels. And just like that. You know, all your parts are panel lined. I like to let it dry for a couple minutes. That way, you know, all the paint has a little bit of time to dry inside the panel lines, and you don't have to worry about wiping away paint that you want there. But it's really easy. You just, like I said, you just touch the panel lines, and it does the rest of the work for you. Really quick. I mean, it's a little tedious sometimes, especially when it comes to cleaning it up, because sometimes you're going to go through a lot of Q-tips cleaning this stuff up, especially if you have a kit with a ton of panel lines on it. The more you have, the longer it's going to take. But cleanup is relatively easy. You just get a Q-tip, you soak the tip in lighter fluid, and I like to wipe away some of the excess. You can see how wet that is. Might be a little much, but you just gently rub away all the excess. And like you can see, it's really messy right now, but if you keep rotating your Q-tip, eventually you will clean all the junk off. And then at this point you can just kind of go around your panel lines, and there you go. So it's panel lined, and it, you know, looks okay. You just do the same for the other side. Just try to keep rotating it, and you know, using clean areas with the Q-tip. Change your angle and stuff like that, and there you go. So like I said, it's really easy. It's very straightforward. You can also use the Gundam markers and stuff like that for this. They're a little easier to clean up, but I like to do the panel washes. I think it gets a nicer looking effect. Just personal preference. You know, just do what works for you. There's a ton of Gundam markers out there that do it. You can use like the Micron Sakura pens or whatever. I hear those work really well. I've heard India ink. So there's a ton of different options out there. Just I guess experiment and find what works best for you, or what's in your budget. And there you go. So panel lining made easy. So I'm going to wrap this up here. This is actually going to be the last work in progress for this. I wasn't sure at the beginning of the video whether or not it would be, but I don't want to give away too much of what's going on with this build. I mean, I think you can get a pretty good idea of what it's going to look like when it's done here, but I'm going to be revealing it in a couple days, so it gives me a couple days to do decals and finish up. And you guys can look forward to that. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you with the next video. Later.